And welcome back to the Morning Blend, where we are transforming your health with Wheaton Franciscan Healthcare, part of Ascension. Well, headache disorders are one of the most common neurological disorders, affecting more than 90% of all Americans at some point in their lives.
But not all headaches are created equal. Some can be cured with over-the-counter meds. Others are so severe that they actually make daily life difficult, if not impossible, to manage. Do you suffer? Dr. Ashley Holdridge is one of only 9 board-certified headache specialists in the state of Wisconsin. She's here to help you take control of headache pain. Great to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for joining us. This is, I think, a topic that everybody watching, it's going to probably apply to them, or they love someone who suffers with chronic headaches. So I think it's really good that we're talking about it. What are the most common types? How do you categorize them?
So we like to group things. So there are primary headache disorders, which consist of migraine headaches, tension headaches, the trigeminal autonomic cephalgias, which also include the cluster headaches, and some of the more unusual ones like nummular headaches and primary cough headaches. This is opposed to the secondary headaches, which are caused by something else, whether it's a structural abnormality caused by a tumor or a mass, a metabolic issue, if you have thyroid problems, or an infectious cause such as meningitis.
Okay. What do you usually see people coming into your clinic for?
Migraine by far is the most common thing that we see in our clinic, and it's probably because it's one of the most disabling. The World Health Organization has actually listed migraine as one of the top 5 disabling diseases amongst women. So migraine affects more people than Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and epilepsy combined.
Wow, it's amazing how common, I guess, it is. You mentioned women. I'm wondering, do women suffer generally more than men do from migraines?
Yes, that is true. So up until puberty, boys actually have a higher prevalence, and then around puberty, girls take the reins up until menopause. And we do think this disparity is due to changes in estrogen fluctuating throughout a woman's life.
Interesting. How then, should, in terms of headache symptoms or issues like that, which ones should you not ignore? Because I think a lot of times people get a headache, they try and medicate or turn off the lights or do those sort of things. Which things should you not just let go?
So there are a group of what we call red flags, and I like to use the mnemonic SNOOP. So SNOOP stands for the S, systemic illness or systemic symptoms. So if you're having weight loss, if you're having fevers or chills. The N stands for neurologic symptoms. So if you're having weakness or numbness on one side of the body, trouble understanding people speaking. The first O stands for onset. So if it's an abrupt onset, almost like a thunderclap sensation. The second O stands for older age, so I'll use that term loosely, and that usually it is very unusual for people over the age of 50 to suddenly develop headaches.
Oh, okay.
And then the P stands for past history. So if the current headache you're experiencing is different than your primary headaches, these are all red flags that you should really seek urgent medical attention.
So those were all symptoms that you shouldn't ignore. You should get attention for those right away. What factors contribute to headaches? Because I think people often wonder, is there a trigger for my headache? And some people can identify it, I'm sure, and others maybe can't.
Absolutely. So we do know that migraines are genetic. So if you have one parent that has migraines, you have about a 50% chance of inheriting them. 80% goes two parents goes all the way up to 80%. So we like to say that these people have an underlying predisposition, or you're hypersensitive to some triggers that wouldn't affect people who do not have it in their genetic makeup. So certain things like weather changes, I have a lot of patients who really should get a second job as a meteorologist because they can predict when weather fronts are coming in.
Right. Is it a pressure issue? Is that what it is?
It's the drop in barometric pressure that typically will trigger it off. Certain foods, so things that contain MSG, such as Chinese food, or nitrates that are found in deli meats, hot dogs, things like that. Caffeine can be a common trigger as well. So we like to say keep it under 200 milligrams a day, because over that it can actually worsen headaches.
How many cups of coffee?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, what do we need to know here? What are we looking at?
Everybody's definition of a cup of coffee is different. So, a cup to a cup. But depending on where you get it from depends on how much caffeine is in it. So it really varies from where you get it.
True, because sometimes the espresso and the coffee. Did you know light roasted coffee has more caffeine?
You told me that. I didn't know that until you mentioned that. I think that surprises people. And the same with the teas. A lot of teas, some of them can have quite a bit of caffeine in them.
So when do you know that it's time to see a specialist? When you say you recognize some of those SNOOP recognitions and things like that, when do you go in and see someone?
So obviously if you have one of those symptoms, you want to seek urgent care. But
Even just one of them?
even just one of them, you really want to get that checked out. But if you find that your headaches are interfering with your ability to be productive at work, if you're missing days of work, if you're missing activities with friends and family, this is really time that you should be seeking medical attention.
What do you suggest people take who have moderate? You know, a lot of people just deal with moderate headaches most of their life. What do you recommend for them?
So the over-the-counter analgesics such as acetaminophen or the nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories can be very beneficial. Really, though, you want to treat before you're nauseous and vomiting, though, because once those symptoms are occurring, you're not drinking water, you're getting dehydrated, you're vomiting, you're not keeping the pill down. So treating early is the key. The caveat being you really do not want to be treating your headache more than 2 to 3 days out of the week, because that can actually worsen headaches in some cases.
Oh.
Okay. And should you be aware that this could be an indicator of an underlying healthcare problem?
Absolutely. So going back to the Snoop issue, if you are experiencing any of those, that certainly could be a sign. Our initial workup always includes lab work, so making sure you're not anemic, making sure there are no metabolic abnormalities. We also check vitamin levels because those are very easily reversible things that are treatable.
We ran out of time quickly because I think a lot of parents watching, if you have a teen or a child with headaches, your recommendation.
Yep, so as we touched on, headaches touch those in every age group, but certainly if your teen is missing school, grades are slipping, if they're missing sporting events, things like that, you really want to get it checked out because migraines are treatable and you really want to recognize it at any age.
I think it's great information, and people can visit the Comprehensive Headache Clinic. Here's how you make an appointment. It's 414-325-4710, or to contact a professional at Wheaton Franciscan Medical Group, you can go to mywheaton.org/find a doctor. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for
Great
having
to
me.
see you.
Helpful.
Thanks.